Here we are. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning into the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty. And with me today is the brain trust behind Beadle and Grimm. How you guys doing this morning?
That term should be used very loosely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's not get there yet.
All right. Can we go around the circle, starting with Mr. John here to my right on the Brady Bunch grid, and introduce yourself and tell the viewers a little bit about where you're coming from?
Yeah. I'm John. I'm one of the founding fathers. Going all the way back to 2018. Some people call me one of the evil overlords. Others call me the salty goblin. Maybe
you have that look about you.
Yeah, well, I project manage the Salt Marsh box, but I also complain a lot. So that's one of my claims to fame. Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie Rayor. I'm also a founding father for good or ill, and I'm working on the Eberron box with these guys.
All right, cool. Mr. Rehor?
Yeah, I'm Bill, and I'm Charlie's younger and smarter brother, and also one of the founders of the group. So,
all right, cool.
I was the lead on the Avernus box, and so I've been having a nice break while everybody else works on Eberron.
And I just pulled up your page for Eberron here. I guess we should back up a second. In case people aren't familiar with what exactly is the Beadle and Grimm does. What's your elevator pitch for your guys' products?
So we are licensees of Wizards of the Coast, and we do limited edition expanded sets of their new adventures as they come out. So we started the company in 2018 with the Waterdeep campaign, and we did a platinum edition of the Waterdeep campaign that comes with the adventure itself as published by Wizards of the Coast, but then we include a lot of immersive elements to try to allow you to create a really high-end version of that campaign at your table. So it includes a lot of in-world handouts, a lot of big battle maps and area maps, a lot of jewelry, things that the characters find in the adventure that the DM can actually hand to the players. Just anything we can do to give you a really immersive experience for the players, make the DM look great, try to reduce the DM's prep time, give them a lot of helpful hints and elements to make it easier to run these campaigns.
Okay, so sort of like when in the olden days, DMs would spend hours hand drawing a map and maybe burning the edges to make it look extra cool.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we all DM'd when we were kids, and when we were kids, we had more time than we had money, and so you do these kinds of things yourself, right? So, now that a lot of the players who started with D&D a while back now have jobs and houses and cars and all of those things, a lot of us now have more money than we have time. And for those people, it's great to have a company that is making this stuff for you and curating it all together and focusing on the things that are most important to telling the story and providing all of those things to you in one big curated box.
Cool. I've been scrolling through some of your slides and your webpage while we've been talking, and I like the handouts and the jewelry and some of the other stuff. The slide I'm showing currently has a stuffed animal at the bottom there, labeled WTF. I see John shaking his head in disgust.
Yeah, that was... I'm going to let John talk about that one because it's his favorite.
John is the principal backer of this particular thing.
Yeah.
Local advocate.
Whenever anybody asks, do you guys ever fight over anything? Do you guys ever disagree over anything? This is the one that I can point to first. Because there were some parties that were very for a plushie in our box and some parties that were very against. I'm not going to claim which side I was on. But yes, we included a very huggable and lovable plushie of Lulu the Holophant in our last box.
I was not the principal architect of the plushie, but I will say, in the plushie's defense, Lulu is a main NPC in the Avernus adventure. She's with you the whole time, and that is actually her at actual size. So she is actually a very small little flying elephant that follows you around through that adventure. So it did actually make a lot of sense, and we like to give Matt a lot of grief about it because we like giving Matt a lot of grief in general. But it actually did turn out pretty cool.
So it's a 100% to scale representation of an important NPC in the Avernus adventure. So
that's exactly right.
And huggable utility and huggable. How many NPCs are huggable in your average D&D game? Not many.
Exactly.
Not enough.
Not enough. Can you hug a kobold? Not really. No. Take that, Paizo. So that's pretty cool. Let's look at your website because we were talking about boxes, and it occurs to me we should be talking about kind of stuff you guys sell. Here is the Eberron package we were talking about. First gold edition. I click on this link. I'm guessing it takes me to a purchase page. And you guys aren't seeing this because I didn't share that screen. So forgive me. It's very early. I'm still drinking coffee like you guys. Just give me 1 second here.
Earlier for us.
Here we go. All right. So Rising from the Last War. Gold edition, I've run Rising from the Last War. We'll definitely get the Platinum edition, Sinister. Okay, so you've gone through Platinum edition for Waterdeep, Silver edition for Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Platinum edition of Baldur's Gate. You're feeling your oats, and we're putting together the Gold edition of Eberron, Rising from the Last War. So what's in a gold box? What's in a gold box?
Lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
like battle maps, artifacts, and trinkets.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a silver edition. We did a platinum. We started with platinum editions, and we went kind of a smaller one with the silver, and gold kind of hits a sweet spot in between. And we've been listening to a lot of customer feedback, so definitely focusing on maps, the encounter cards, handouts, jewelry. Just not quite as much bonkers stuff as we're able to include with the platinum editions.
This is the Eberron is a source book. It's not just an adventure. So this is our first experience with doing a box for a source book. There is an adventure in it, and there are a lot of adventure elements that are similar to the other boxes, but it's been an experience trying to figure out exactly how to do an expanded edition of a source book.
Yeah, I can see that. It sounds like you guys are still trying to play around with the price point and figure out what gets the most cool stuff, but is appealing to the most people. But looking through your galleries here on artifacts and battle maps, and this is sweet, guys.
Oh, thanks, man.
I kind of want to play this game now. So, and that brings me to the next point, and lots of cool stuff here: artifact gallery, map gallery, and world handouts. And I think the encounter cards are probably what I like the best because just as a GM, I can see that being super handy. I'm scrolling. If I want to buy this, how to pre-order now? Here we go. And okay, $250. Well, it looks like that's probably a good value for all that great swag you're getting there. And you just click on this link, and you can pre-order now. Okay, cool. And that's how that works. When did these ship out? February 2020, right there.
Yep.
Okay, excellent.
We're in the midst of getting final approvals from Wizards of the Coast stuff. So within the next couple of days, you should be able to see a pretty complete inventory list of what we're actually going to ship on this.
Okay, so things are still being solidified and put together. Then it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And I know looking around your website, it looked like some things were sold out, but some things were still available. What's still available if people I know like Eberron and say, but I want something right now? Would that be Avernus is still around?
So the Avernus, Saltmarsh, and Waterdeep all sold out.
Okay.
Especially with the platinum editions, we only make about 1,000 of them, and they generally sell out before we ship.
So if I want to buy something today, I go to your warehouse store, and there's
so if you go to the warehouse store, though, so we do sell some of the things from the various boxes individually. So if you go to the warehouse store, you'll see there's a lot of the jewelry is available. Lulu is available should you want a huggable plushie.
Mm-hmm. Shark God Medallion, that looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do sell some elements, but they're very few. So, you know, if you want the experience of the box, you really need to grab one before they sell out.
Okay, understood. And what's limited number? What's how many are there?
Of which?
Well, the one we're selling right now, the Eberron.
Oh, of Eberron?
Yeah.
So the gold edition is going to be a little bit different. It's probably going to end up being around 1,500 to 2,000.
Okay.
We'll go a little bit higher than we do with the platinum editions. Those are the ones that are really, you know, the boxes are numbered, and we really commit to those being exclusive collector's editions. The lower tier boxes we're a little more fluid with. Okay,
understood. So yeah, just scrolling through your handouts here, and I'm really impressed with the quality and the time you guys are putting into this. This is looks like a pretty cool deal.
Thanks, man. We as licensees of the Wizards of the Coast, we have access to a lot of their artists, so we use a lot of established Wizards artists for our bonus material, and we try to work with really high-end, experienced people who really know the game really well.
Yeah, we're fully aware that when a lot of folks see the price point, it always starts with a gasp. Mm-hmm. But luckily, as folks order these boxes and review these boxes, they quickly realize how much value they're getting for the money.
Yeah, when you have a table of 5 or 6 people who are playing a game, and you're going to be playing it for 3 months or 5 months or 12 months if you play as infrequently as us, it seems like a lot up front, but you do get a lot of play out of these things. The adventures that D&D writes these days, you know, for anybody who is of our advanced age, they used to be a lot
really advanced.
The adventures used to be a lot shorter. They'd break them up into a series of 3 or whatever. But these hardback editions that they come out with now with like Avernus, you can be playing these for a very long time.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you're paying for like you say 6, 8, 12 months of entertainment, it really works out to it makes sense.
Yeah,
and just beautiful looking stuff. It would be a real jerk question to ask what's next after Eberron. I suspect you guys are in a real production crush to get everything out on that, right?
We are. We know what the Wizards traditionally has a big fall adventure release, and we're starting to work on that. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it right now.
Okay.
And we are working on a product that is focused on players. You know, right now all of our adventures these boxes are really for the DM, to help the DM run a game for the players. We are working on a product that will go directly to players to try to enhance their experience. It's a little bit of a secret right now, and in a couple of months maybe we can come back on and talk about that.
That would be great. Yeah,
that is cool.
So Matt, this really amazing looking stuff. People always think of RPG kind of being, sort of a cheaper hobby, but I mean, oh hey, Dan Hauser, you joined us. Sorry, Dan, I've been looking at the pictures. Dan, how you doing?
Hey, great. Sorry, guys. Time zones, how do they work? I'm in Central, so it's always whenever somebody says a normal time zone anywhere else, I'm like, what is that for where I weirdly live? So, yeah. Sorry, and my voice is a little wrecked. I was at Polar Vortex 4 this weekend.
How was it?
Glad to see everyone. Oh, it was a fantastic time of demoing Icons, Orc, 2nd edition, that kind of thing. And I saw a lot of folks there wearing Beadle and Grimm's T-shirts from Game Hall Con, so that was nice. So, and I also asked a couple folks there if they had band questions for you guys, and I got a couple here for you. So, just a couple things.
Yeah. Right. Bring it on.
All right. So the first one was what actually inspired you to organize the the boxes the way that you did. I think their question was more related to being a GM. Was it as a GM or as a creator of role playing game products?
I mean, we've all DM'd in our lives. This is purely coming from us, the stuff that we would want in a box. I mean, that was always our organization. What would we want to play with? That was always the driving.
And I'll say this whole interview is because when I walked by your booth at Game Holcon, Bill, I said this is exactly what a DM needs. You know.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, you know when we first. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying you guys create a level of quality and immersion for. It's the thing that when guys who played Dungeons and Dragons in the '80s were like dipping their maps in tea and wrinkling them up, made on made on regular like notebook paper. They were hoping to put forth an experience that you guys are giving at that price point, and I think it's worth it. You were just talking about how at $250 it's worth it. Absolutely, considering that all of the maps are there, the creature cards and the specific DM screen alone would be worth $100 because it's just no more flipping through books. You're just plopping them out. That's not probably the best verb to use, but you're just setting them on the DM screen. Everyone can see what you're talking about, and you've got stats at hand, which is anything at a glance or at hand makes the DM portion of it easier. So there's not a lot of back and forth. The players are actually playing, and you're actually able to referee rather than, flip through books, make them wait, and go, here you go.
Yeah, for sure. You know, when we first went in to talk to Wizards about doing this, what they said to us was there is no shortage of people who want to play Dungeons and Dragons. The problem is there's a shortage of people who have the confidence to DM a game. That's the only rate limiting factor for growth for Dungeons and Dragons is people who feel confident enough to actually take the reins and run a campaign for their friends. So a big part of our focus is always how can we make that DM's job easier? How do we shorten their prep time by making things easier to understand and easier to find? And how do we make them look great at the table so they're not sitting there, looking through stuff and feeling like they're holding everybody up and feeling unprepared. So we're trying to give them things, right out in front of them so they can always look prepared, run the game quickly, give out lots of cool stuff to the players, make them feel great, keep the game moving, and make it feel immersive and fun. So that's
I'm running a platinum box right now, and I've tricked my players into thinking I'm a good DM. As a DM, one of the most satisfying things as a DM is to pull something out, put it on the table like a huge map or an encounter card with an awesome piece of art, and just have the whole table go ooh ah. I mean, that's such a great feeling, and you get so many of those with when you're running this kind of a box.
And if I had to describe it, I mean, I still have I have a what I would call a magic horseshoe still for my current campaign that I got when I was at Game Holcon from the Dragon Heist box. It was one of the little internal feelies, is what I call them, from old school ICOM games. Yeah. I was like, I have one still held back. It's the feeling that guys who start using miniatures for stuff feel when they've painted their first miniature and put it on the table, and they go, what is that? And I go, oh, we'll find out. See, but this thing gives you that feeling from the beginning to the end, I imagine, and I can't wait for the next one. I'm not into the Eberron realm myself, but the next full set I am going to pre-order. That's on me because I was like, I gotta get one, and awesome. The price point is perfect for especially for a DM who loves a DM, and it's like, oh man, and this is just so the utility of it is so good. Which brings me to my next question, which is, as a DM, what is the best moment you've had testing these out, and what has been the most frustrating moment you've had testing these out, and how has that changed? What happened after, after Dragon Heist? What was the best moment of Dragon Heist, either playtesting or just live doing it? And then what was the most frustrating moment when you were using your own product that you had to change for future products?
I'll take the frustrating one. Well, John, you should do the other since you're running Dragon Heist right now.
Oh, awesome.
The probably the most frustrating thing for me right now is trying to figure out the minis element for the boxes. Everybody uses minis differently. Everybody has different needs or wants for them. So, when we did Dragon Heist, we really wanted to try to hit as many of the encounters as possible. And so we had a big set of the unpainted Nolzur's minis, which we love. I mean, they're really beautiful. They have great detail. And we were able to hit a lot of the big encounters with it. There's one of them there. That's the Beholder. That's the Nolzur's Beholder. And some people loved them, and some people were really frustrated with us that we had unpainted miniatures in a platinum edition. And some people said, "Well, I've already got those," and some people said, "I don't play with minis at all." And so it was one of the only things in the box where we got a really mixed feedback. And so for Avernus, we did this. Here, I'll grab it. We only did one mini, but it is a huge mini. It is this big war machine, the infernal machine that you drive across the hellscape. And it's a beautiful mini that WizKids built, and it has this exclusive front end on it that you can only get by buying one of our boxes. And it's so unique, and it was such a big part of that adventure that we thought, okay, this is going to be perfect. And a lot of people loved it, but there were still, when we got feedback on it, there were still people who said, "What about regular minis? I want a set of regular minis." So we're still trying to figure this out and figure out what way we can. Well, we know we'll never satisfy everybody, but every box we look at, we're trying to think about, okay, what will serve this adventure best, and how can we address this particular topic in the way that will satisfy the largest number of people. And it's constantly frustrating, and we're just doing our best.
Yeah, and as far as one of the things that I've enjoyed the most, two really quickly spring to mind. One is we had an in-world document called the Code Legal, and we designed it so that it would open accordion fold. And so when I presented it to the table, I said, there are a set of laws in Waterdeep, and here they are. And I opened it and I allowed it to fall almost all the way to the floor, and got a big laugh from the players.
Yeah, I saw that at Game Home. Matt showed that. He's like, "Oh yeah." Then you're who was doing they basically were doing the sales at the booth.
It was me, Matt, and Justice at that
Justice. One. Justice says, "Yeah." He goes, "So you're familiar with Forgotten Realms? There are some laws in Waterdeep." And he goes, "Lets it fall to the floor." I'm like, "That is great." And I saw the soul coin, and that actually kind of pushed me to go, maybe I will get Eberron. But you were saying the positive aspects of it. Yeah. Please continue. I'm sorry to have interrupted. I just wanted to show that I was getting my laptop stuff.
No, please. Anytime that you want to, say something nice about our product, interrupt. And then another one is, in the Waterdeep set, we produced battle maps that are city battle maps that can be interlocked in different ways. So there are countless ways that you can use those battle maps, and I've already used them at least half a dozen times. And it makes such a big difference when you're running a big battle to be able to have one of your players say, "Oh, I'm going to jump up on that barrel that's right there," or "I'm going to climb into this window and take cover." It just takes it to another level that a piece of paper with pencil, which is great, which can work great, but it's just a different experience.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences between the adventures from the 70s and 80s when we were growing up and the adventures now is that they really write these things to be much more of a sandbox than they used to. They really allow the players to go where they want and make the choices they want. And that can be intimidating as a DM because, you don't players that you decide to go to a part of town that you never planned on. And it's not like, a dungeon crawl where they literally can only go left or right, right? Waterdeep, it's just a big town and they can kind of go wherever they want. And so we try to create elements that help the DM when the players do something that you don't expect, where you can just kind of make things up on the fly and give you a lot of support, a lot of good references, and that those custom DM screens, that's a big part of the reason for those is the inside of them are just full of heads up references of players you might meet, or if they're looking for an armory, you can look there and there's a quick reference of 3 different armories.
Yeah, the few times I came by the booth, I just kept grabbing up the DM screen that you had there, and I was just looking. I was like, man, this is like when reading it, it reads like a DM wrote it, and that's probably the highest praise I can give any product that I buy for myself as a DM. Was I would be looking immediately for these things to be on that. Not just stuff you would expect a capable product to have, but a product that knows what the utility of itself is. It's like, well, here's why this is really good for you. So when I saw it, I appreciated it. That's what spawned this whole thing. I was like, Mike, you're gonna want to talk to these guys, because Mike and I did Stark City for Icons, and it was our philosophy on it was very similar. It was like we wanted to give, because Steve Kenson wanted to have a system that was agnostic of a setting, and I was fine with that. And in fact, I thought for pickup games, that's great. It's like, but what about people who love the system so much that they want to have their own campaign setting? And I said, is there a way we can do it so that we make something that we made, but for everyone to use however they want? So we created a city that you can take apart and put together at your table using one part of it, or all of it, or none of it, and just the bad guys. And it succeeded because Mike and my philosophy and everyone who wrote on it understood that we're all GMs rather than just players. And so we were like, what would GMs definitely need? So stat blocks read the way a GM would want them to. Information is set up in the book, and it was just fantastically done. Mike did an amazing job on it. And not to just talk about our stuff, I just want to say that when I saw your stuff, I felt a kinship in design philosophy, at least for what you're offering. And so if I could give my own personal, hey guys, pick one of these up, I would say that. And that would lead me to another question, which was, are you ever going to recreate any of the old boxes, or are you going to just keep moving forward and these will be collector's pieces? We got a lot of GMs are like, hey, are you guys going to, I'd love to get that. I want to get that Dragon Heist because it leads into the campaign I'm running right now, which is Undermountain. And I was like, wow. And then as I went through Undermountain, I'm like, they could never do this as a platinum, I don't think. And I was like, but man, I would love to do Dragon Heist first, But I don't mind missing the boat, because that does give a lot of value to the stuff you're doing. So that's the question. Are you planning on doing reprints or smaller versions, or maybe paper versions?
Yeah, the page one in particular has always just kind of cracked us up, because we would love to do a platinum version of that, but we would have to ship it in a refrigerator container.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah. It's month.
We'll make one of them. It'll be $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah, we spoke in November. I'm like, man, you guys should do that. It is now almost February, and they're on floor 3. Yeah. So I was like, man, just the battle maps alone. And then you go into a floor where it's a country and cities. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple of them that we've looked at and said that will never, ever happen. So it's kind of 2 questions. The first one, we can never go back, I don't think, to do another reprint of a platinum version of Dragon Heist. I mean, we did some of these. We've really committed to having them be a limited edition set, and we don't want to touch that. That being said, we would consider going back and doing like a silver or a gold edition of Dragon Heist, or a silver or a gold edition of Avernus. We definitely talk about that. We do want to include everybody and make sure that we have different price points so that everybody feels like they have a chance to get their hands on something if they want it. So
Sure.
we do want to address that for sure. And then the other part of the question, I think, is for the books that came out before Dragon Heist. The answer is yes. There's definitely a possibility that we would go back at some point and do some of those older campaigns.
Okay.
I can't get into.
I have a point. There are five people who asked me the same question, and I'm just going to say the title of the book, and I don't want to say anything. But if people are watching the podcast who happen to read facial expressions, their question was Curse of Strahd, and I'll leave it at that, and I'll just let you guys mull that over in case you want to have a treat for Christmas some year and go, yay, we'll do that. Anyway, another honest question about like the workings of it. When you guys started, was the platinum the ideal, or was the platinum where you guys started? You were like, this is what we're going to do. And then it was like, well, we'll make it all stretch goals and we'll start from paper and then go to tchotchkes and then go to full maps and then we'll go to everything. Was it a Kickstarter kind of? Because that's how Mike and I did start. So he was like, well, here's what we'd love to do. And then here's what we can do. And here's what we will do. And then even after that, Mike was a champion. He was a hero and made sure that everything got out and done and sent as we'd promised. So again, if there was a Kickstarter hero, it's this guy up here. Oh, sorry, my camera's backwards. This guy up here. So how did that start? What was your planning like for the beginning of it? Was it?
I mean, you would think that we would have started with the silver box and worked up. But we weren't smart enough to do that. We went crazy and just dove right in on the massive platinum box. And so, yeah, when we did the platinum box, the idea was for that to be the ideal, right? The big product. And we've been scaling it back since. When you start getting the creative juices flowing and you start throwing out everything that should be in the box, you can go crazy and everything you want in that box, you always have to make some cuts, some difficult cuts sometimes in order to get, the things that you think are most important in that box. And yeah, we started with the platinum and have been scaling back since.
Yeah, I think the other thing was, other than our stupidity, was we really wanted to prove to people that we could make things at this quality level and that we could do something that people had never really seen before. One of the inspiration kind of points for us for these was, in the music business, bands and artists will put out these very big exclusive boxed sets of their materials for collectors and big fans, and they'll have big photo books and special editions and rare cuts and all this kind of stuff. And we really wanted to do something at that level that we weren't seeing in the gaming community, and particularly for D&D. So I think we, our instinct was to go for the very high end, prove to everybody who we were and all the things that we could do, and then we can start to find things, in between that are a little bit more manageable.
Right. Wow, that's great. So another question came up a lot about Matt was doing videos. A few other cohorts of his were doing videos on Lost Odyssey a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And I just caught his, my first character. And like, I know if you've been to conventions, let me tell you about my character, and I'm like, Matt Lillard just did a video where he told us about his character. Is that leading up to a live theater event? Or is it going to be a show? I saw it was on Geek and Sundry, which has been holding that torch high for role-playing games. And it looks like we're gonna have to wrap up soon. So if this could be our second to last question, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. So Lost Odyssey was a live LA event, in November, I think, that Matt was in, and, they're doing it annually, I think. So I know they're already talking about the 2020 Lost Odyssey live event. It was a great
Okay.
show. It was really, really fun. Deborah Ann Woll was the DM, and they raised a lot of money for charity. And it was a great show. And Matt was hilarious in it, and as were all the other actors. And what do you call them? Are they an actor or are they a
Player, maybe.
player? Anyway, it was a great group, and it was a great show, so it's an annual charity event, and it's a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you know what? Honestly, my last question was another poke at Curse of Strahd, so I won't do that. Thanks, guys, for coming on. And I'll let Mike lead us out.
We're working on our poker face here. Come on.
You're right.
Well, I'll tell you also, if you ever do a reprint, I'm in for all of them. So.
Okay. Oh, great. We're having a lot of fun right now. We're there are a few of the older ones that we had never read before, and we're going back and looking through stuff and just getting ideas. And there's a lot of great 5e adventures out there, and we're having fun reading them and thinking about what we could spring on you guys in the future. So we'll see.
Can't wait. I think Mike's off there, Mike.
Yeah, we lost you, buddy. You look great, though.
Yeah.
Do you know any sign
I'll
language?
fill in video in just a second.
Yeah.
All right, we're heading out.
All right,
Bye, Mike.
we're out.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Have a good